I'm not even gonna ask you if you're stressed out because if you own an interior design business, the answer is probably yes. Join me on Design Sips today because we're gonna really talk through how to get it all straightened out, settled down, so that you can absolutely rock your goals. I'll see you there. We'll raise a glass and think tank how you can bring more joy, abundance, and balance to your interior design business. I'm Sandra Funk and this is Design Sips. Cheers.
Cheers, Sandra.
Cheers.
Okay, I'm excited to dig into this episode. So, Kristen asks, there's always so much to do. Podcasts to listen to, clients that need to be onboarded, conferences I should go to. That is quite a lot.
Yeah.
Every day I feel so behind. How do I keep all these plates in the air spinning?
I so feel you. And the truth is, sometimes you have to turn off the faucet, right? Sometimes so much is coming at you that you need to say, enough, thank you, I need to take a minute and I'm gonna focus, right? So important to know what your main objective is, what the next thing is in your business that's gonna move you forward, and find time to focus on that. Block time in your calendar, make it top priority. We're gonna go through lots of techniques to make sure that that really important one thing that's gonna move your business forward is actually getting your full attention. So sometimes you have to go on what people likely call a media diet, right? Where you are not listening to an Audible book in your car, a podcast when you run, a book, 3 books on your bedside table, the news is going in the background. Sometimes you need to turn all of that off and you really do need some quiet time.
Absolutely. How do you know personally when you're like, okay, I'm in content overload?
Because I live there and I have to do this to myself all the time. I have the 3 books. I have the Audible book going. I'm always taking a course, doing a thing, always. I am my own experiment in all of these things. So I will see myself doing it and I'll be like, okay, pick one. Everything else has to go by the wayside. You've got the kids, you've got the husband, the dog, the business. You pick one, right? There's one thing that we're moving forward. And I like to have always the one thing where I'm learning and growing, and then the one goal in business that I'm focused on most. And when I say pick one, it's one personal growth thing and one business growth thing. And just really try to get out of your own way with all the other stuff that's clouding in and coming at you.
Absolutely. And just because you do turn off the faucet of all the input doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to fall behind in your business.
That's exactly right. It's funny because as I'm, in this, I also just booked our Airbnb for High Point. It's not that I'm not going to go to High Point or I'm going to pretend like it's not happening, but I was like, okay, let me book it. Let me get it on the calendar, the things that have to happen for that to happen 6 months from now, 4 months from now, whatever that is. So I'm not going to go ostrich and put my head in the sand. I'm still going to attend events and do things, but I'm not going to get sucked into just the swirl. And one of the most important things when you're feeling like you're behind is I put time limits on all social media. So I can't, I have to bypass my own little restrictions in my phone to get on my email, my social media, anything that's a time suck or Pinterest, anything that I could go down a rabbit hole in, and it won't let me come on there until whatever time in the morning is appropriate, and for sure back up 2 hours before bedtime and make sure that you have it off as well. You can go savage and have someone else set the password on your own phone if you want to take it to that level. I just have ignore, and even that ignore, I'm no, don't ignore. You did this on purpose for good reason, right? Go get your most important thing done today before you glance at what's happening in email, what's happening on social. It's so important. And if I'm having an idea, I can just jot it down on a piece of paper in Asana. Doesn't mean you can't have that creative idea. A lot of my ideas come when I'm meditating in the morning, but what I found is that if I can actually get to Instagram to post something, or if I can actually get to Pinterest to go look up something because I had this great idea during meditation, the next thing I know, 20 minutes have gone by and I'm I'm supposed to be meditating, not freaking scrolling, right? So when I turn it off, I can just go, okay, I'm just gonna jot the note down in my journal and let it go, right? So, and of course, it's hard. The best way to do this was to not bring your phone within reach of meditation, but I've got my music on it, I've got my mantras on it. Like, I'm a person who has that all in the phone. So, but just putting those restrictions on, game changer.
Definitely. And I think something we do at work is you might be in something and have an idea, but being able to store it in Asana and not put a due date on it so that it doesn't get lost. Same thing with writing in your journal. Is a little bit more willpower to just say, okay, I trust that I can get to this later, but I won't do it now.
Right. Don't shift out of what's the big important thing. Okay, so that brings me to the rocks. I have to go over rocks next. So we are big EOS system traction lovers. If you don't know what I'm talking about, Google it. It's a book, a concept, a method of like running a business. So one of my favorite examples inside of traction is the idea of your rocks. So picture your big bucket and I don't know if I'm going to tell this right, but whatever, we'll get there. The big rocks are the most important things that you need to do, right? And then you have smaller rocks, the things that got to get done. You know, they're moving the business forward, but they're not like the most important thing that's going to happen next. Then you got pebbles. That's like just the bullshit of returning samples and responding to emails and picking up the phone when it rings, right? And then you've got like sand, which is just the annoying crap, like paying taxes that like just makes your head spin, but it's got to happen, right? And then you have water, which is everything else that comes at you. The charity event that they want to go to, the schmoozy thing that you know, as a local business owner, you need to show up at, like all the other obligations and stuff, right? And there's your bucket. So if you fill your bucket, there's two ways to fill your bucket: from water, pebbles, rocks, to huge boulder, you know, your big rocks. Or, which is all the little bullshit first, the things you have to do, the things that must get done, and then the big important stuff. If you start with water, then add sand, then add pebbles, the thing is overflowing, right? The bucket is full. You never ever get to the big important rocks if you just let all the minutia be first, okay? So take your bucket and put the big rock in first. Now the big rocks are the things that are going to move your business forward, right? And I don't mean forward like send out the proposals. That's a little rock. That's a regular, everyday, doing the business that we have set up thing. The big rocks are developing another stream of income. The big rocks are actually becoming a part of a networking group with the realtors, with the architects, with the builders that will truly change your pipeline and your potential client list forever, right? The big rocks are the big initiatives that are going to make big impacts on your business, but they're hard to get to because you're not currently obligated. You're not in a relationship with a client where, of course, you're going to send the proposal. Of course, you're going to place the orders. Like, you're in the flow. Those are the slightly smaller rocks. You got to do them. You're obligated under contract, right? The big rocks, you're not obligated. You don't have to do them, but they are the things that are going to truly catapult your business forward. You got to put those first. You got to put them in the bucket first, and then the rocks of obligation go in next and they fill in. The pebbles of things you should do, don't need to do. The sand of the minutia that's got to get done. And then the water is like, you know, all the little bullshit that's coming in, the chit chat on social media, all that stuff. The water will just fill in any little crevices left, but that's it. When you're full, right? But again, if we do not make time for, if we do not plan for the big rocks that are going to move our business forward first, we will never get to them. So how do you do them first? You block them in your calendar. You plan business retreats where you are going to be, we did this to create the standard, right? I have my interior design firm for all these years, and we had the idea to do the standard to help our industry, you know, help interior designers run better businesses. And it was a big rock. It didn't have to happen. And the minutia of every day certainly wasn't going to let it happen easily. So finally, we came to the conclusion, we are going to do like a 1-week retreat where 3 people, like 4 of us, all met at my sister's cottage in Michigan in the middle of winter when nobody else was going to be there. No desire to go outside. It was like cold. We built a fire. We brought all the food we were going to need, and we just sat down for a week and made massive progress. So you could do this, right? You could book a 1 night at a hotel in your local neighborhood and just sneak out and focus for 8 straight hours. You could take your team, do a thing, like all the ideas, right? You could block it in your calendar. I have so many entrepreneurs tell me that they just don't have one extra second, and I say, okay, what time do you usually wake up? 6. Okay, well, could you wake up at 5? Could you have an extra hour every single day from 5 to 6? No one's awake yet, no interruptions. Is it worth it to you? Would another stream of income, would a new product launch, would a whole nother initiative, would that be worth it to you to creep off to bed a little earlier every night and really move that forward, right? I know adding it on at the end of the night is not possible. We are all done once we're done, right? Our best work is often first in the day. Another way that I make sure that the big rocks happen is I have my like daily timesheet, and I have them where I print them, or I have like, a journal that has that kind of built into it, but it's that top 3 tasks, right? And it's so important every single day to write down what is the thing that I'm going to do today that's going to, at least one of my top 3 tasks has to be moving my big rock forward. Has to be moving towards some big initiative to move our business forward. And then the other 2 can be the medium rocks that are just the must-dos, right? Have to do it. We're under obligation. It's got to happen. So these are the ways to get out of the spin and the feeling behind, and really start to put your best foot forward and get it done.
Absolutely. And I think, cheers to that. I think this is where community could be helpful if you're a solopreneur. Our leadership quarterly meetings is basically check-in on how far we got on those rocks. And I think that's a huge part of it too. Huge.
Yeah. Accountability is absolutely necessary. So if you are a one human show and you are, you even need to sit down with yourself. You need to have an annual meeting. You need to have a quarterly meeting. You need to set goals. You need to set steps that are going to need to happen to make those goals attainable. You're going to need to map out what goals you're going to take on for this quarter, when they're going to happen, what's the priority. There's a lot of organization around goal setting and making it happen. And again, Traction's a great book for that. In addition, things like being a part of the standard, having an accountability group, being a part of a community of designers who are all moving their businesses forward, who maybe somebody already launched their second stream of income and can walk you through some steps, can give you some tips. It's incredibly important to find community and to find someone to move that forward with. And I think even working with a coach, if you're a one human show, or just an entrepreneur who maybe your team is younger, or just not, maybe the ideas that you're having are not something you're bringing to the team yet, you're just kind of conceding on your own, working with a coach and really setting those goals and those like steps would be massively helpful. And then the accountability of checking back in as well.
Exactly. So we'd love to know, how are you staying on track with your goals, or what are you struggling with in feeling behind? Tell us in the comments.
Yes. And I think one of the most important things too is that you're exactly where you're supposed to be, right? This moment, this maybe procrastination or this inability to have extra time for it, whatever it is, this is exactly where you're supposed to be. And then maybe this episode came your way because it's time to start setting aside the goal setting annually, the quarterly check-ins, like maybe it's time to really start getting serious and dreaming and scheming, getting all those ideas out on paper and really getting where you could be going, getting the vision out of you onto paper and to start breaking it down. Like, what would it look like? What are the steps? How long would this take? Who do I need to tap? Do I need an expert? Do I need help? How can we make this happen? It's so invigorating to have an idea and then actually have integration.
Absolutely. Alrighty guys, well, we'd love for you to check out our video prioritizing you in your design business.
Yes, so there's another video all about priorities and investing in yourself and how to figure out what the next step is and where you're going. So definitely check it out.
Alrighty, cheers everyone.
That's it. Cheers, y'all. I'll see you next time.